Hyun-woo Kim walked through the massive doors of the Galactic Council chambers. The room was bigger than anything he had ever seen on Earth. Tall pillars reached up to a ceiling that seemed to touch the stars themselves. Strange lights floated in the air, casting colored shadows on the walls. The smell in the air was different too, like metal and something sweet that made his nose twitch. Behind him walked three other humans. So-Ra Park kept her hand close to her side, where her weapon would be if the aliens had allowed her to carry one. Her dark eyes scanned every corner of the room. She had been a soldier for 20 years before becoming a diplomat. Old habits never died. Tae-ho Lee carried a small device that looked like a tablet. His fingers moved quickly across its surface, taking notes and recording everything he saw. The aliens thought it was just a simple computer. They had no idea what it really could do. Ji-won Choi walked last, a small communication device hidden in her ear. She looked calm, but inside she was already sending signals back to Earth. The aliens could not detect the quantum waves her device used. The four humans reached the center of the chamber. Around them sat creatures that looked like nightmares from old Earth movies. The Vorthak looked like giant crystals that had learned to think. Light moved through their bodies like blood through veins. When they spoke, their voices sounded like breaking glass. The Threnti were worse. They looked like huge insects with 6 arms and eyes that never blinked. Their skin was black and shiny, and when they moved, Hyun-woo could hear clicking sounds. They smelled like rotting fruit. The Luminari were the strangest of all. They had no solid bodies, just balls of bright energy that hurt to look at directly. When they talked, the air itself seemed to vibrate. At the front of the chamber sat the leader of the Vorthok. His crystal body was bigger than the others, and the light inside him was brighter. His name was something humans could not pronounce, so they called him the Prime Crystal. "Humans of Earth," the Prime Crystal said. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "You have been called here to receive the judgment of this council." Hyun-woo stepped forward. He had practiced this moment for months. "We are honored to stand before the great Galactic Council," he said. His voice was steady and calm. "We come in peace and friendship." Several of the aliens made sounds that might have been laughter. The Prime Crystal's light flickered in what Hyun-woo had learned meant amusement. "Peace?" said a Threnti representative. "Your species has spread across 12 star systems in less than 50 years. You build weapons that even we find impressive. You call this peace?" So-Ra felt her jaw tighten, but she said nothing. Let them talk, she thought. They have no idea what real weapons look like. The Prime Crystal raised one of his crystal arms. The chamber fell silent. "Humans have become a problem," he said. "Your expansion threatens the stability of this sector. Your military grows stronger each year. You refuse to accept our guidance." Tae-ho's fingers moved across his tablet. Every word was being recorded. Every gesture was being analyzed. The data would be sent back to Earth the moment they left this place. Therefore, the Prime Crystal continued, "The Council has decided to offer you a choice. You may surrender 75% of your colonies to our protection. You will accept Galactic Council governors on all your remaining worlds. Your military will be reduced to local defense forces only. You have 30 of your Earth days to comply." The chamber erupted in sounds of approval. Crystal voices chimed like broken bells. Insect mandibles clicked in rhythm. Energy beings pulsed with bright satisfaction. Hyun-woo felt his heart beating faster, but his face remained calm. This was what Earth had expected. The intelligence reports had been correct. The Council saw humans as upstart children who needed to be controlled. "And if we refuse?" Hyun-woo asked. The prime crystal's light grew brighter. "Then you will face corrective action. Our combined fleets will enforce compliance. Your species will learn the price of defying the natural order." A luminary representative pulsed forward. "Be grateful we offer you this choice, mammals. Other species who defied us were not so fortunate. Ask the Kepler colonists. Oh, wait, you cannot. They no longer exist." More sounds of alien laughter filled the chamber. Sora's hand twitched toward her side again. These creatures were talking about genocide like it was a joke. Ji-won's hidden device grew warm against her ear as it transmitted faster. The quantum encryption was working perfectly. Earth would know everything within hours. "This is a generous offer," said another Vorthak. "Your species is young and foolish. We are giving you a chance to live under our wisdom instead of dying in ignorance." Taeho looked up from his tablet. "May we ask how long other species have had to consider such offers?" "Other species?" The prime crystal seemed confused by the question. "There have been no others. Previous conflicts required immediate correction. You are the first to receive such consideration." The human delegation exchanged quick glances. This was valuable information. The Council was treating Earth differently. The question was why. "We are honored by your consideration," Hyun-woo said carefully. "Such an important decision requires discussion with our government. We will return to Earth and present your offer to our leaders." 30 days, the Prime Crystal said firmly. "When that time ends, we will have your answer. Choose wisely, humans. The galaxy has room for those who accept their place in the natural order. It has no room for those who do not." The audience was over. Guards that looked like metal spiders escorted the humans from the chamber. As they walked through the corridors of Nexus Prime, alien beings stopped to stare at them. Some pointed with claws or tentacles. Others made sounds that were probably insults. Back in their ship, the 4 humans sat in silence until they were clear of the station. Only then did Ji-won speak. "Full transmission complete," she said. "Earth knows everything." Sora leaned back in her chair. "Arrogant bastards," she said quietly. "They think we're primitives with fancy toys." Taeho was already analyzing his recordings. "They have no idea what they just did," he said. "This ultimatum, it's exactly what the war planners needed." Hyun-woo stared out at the stars as their ship entered hyperspace. The aliens thought they were sending frightened diplomats home to beg for mercy. They had no idea they were sending soldiers home to prepare for war. 30 days, he said softly. They have no idea how much can happen in 30 days. Behind them, Nexus Prime grew smaller until it disappeared among the stars. On the station, alien representatives celebrated their easy victory over the primitive humans. They had no way of knowing that those same humans were already planning their destruction. The war had begun the moment the ultimatum was given. The aliens just did not know it yet. The message from Nexus Prime reached Earth in less than 6 hours. President Mi Young-song sat in the emergency council room deep beneath the capital city. Around the table sat the most powerful people in human space. None of them looked surprised by the alien ultimatum. Fleet Admiral Dong Hyun-yoon was the first to speak. 75% of our colonies, he said, shaking his head. They want us to give up everything we've built in the last 50 years. It's worse than that, said Seok-Jin Han, the director of Advanced Weapons Research. He was a thin man with glasses that reflected the light from his computer screen. They want to put governors on our remaining worlds. That means they want to control us completely. Da Yun Kong leaned forward. She was young for someone in charge of cyber warfare, but her mind was sharp as a blade. The transmission from our diplomats included something interesting, she said. The aliens have no idea how advanced our technology really is. President, Song nodded slowly. She had been waiting for this day since she took office 5 years ago. Then it's time for Operation Silent Thunder, she said. The room fell silent. Everyone at the table had helped plan Operation Silent Thunder, but none of them had wanted to use it. It was a plan for total war against an enemy that outnumbered humanity by millions. Are we sure about this? Asked Woo Jin Nam, the Special Operations Commander. He was a big man with scars on his hands from old battles. Once we start this, there's no going back. Admiral Yoon smiled coldly. They made the choice for us, he said. The moment they threatened our people, they sealed their fate. President. Song pressed her hand against a scanner on the table. Red lights began flashing throughout the room. Operation Silent Thunder is now active, she said. May God help us all. Across human space, hidden facilities began to wake up. For 30 years, Earth's best scientists had been working on projects that officially did not exist. The aliens thought they knew what human technology could do. They were about to learn how wrong they were. On Mars, Captain Jae-min Seo received his orders while sitting in what looked like an empty warehouse. The building was just a cover. 50 meters underground, the real work was happening. His ship, the Shadow Walker, was completely invisible to alien sensors. It used dark matter to bend space around itself. All stealth units are go, Jae-min said into his communicator. We launch in 12 hours. His ship was one of 20 like it. The aliens had never seen them because they had never been used before. Each ship could travel faster than light without creating the energy signature that alien sensors detected. They could appear anywhere in the galaxy without warning. On Europa, Commander Ye-Jin Lim was preparing her special teams. These soldiers had been living among alien populations for years. Some worked as traders. Others were researchers or diplomats. All of them were killers trained to use weapons the aliens had never imagined. Phase 1. Targets are confirmed, Ye-Jin said to her. Team leaders. Communications hubs on 17 worlds. When we hit them, the aliens will be blind and deaf. Her soldiers nodded. They had studied alien technology for years. They knew exactly where to strike to cause maximum damage. More importantly, they knew how to do it without being detected until it was too late. In a laboratory on Titan, Dr. Hee Jin Moon was putting the finishing touches on her masterpiece. It looked like a simple computer virus, but it was much more. She had spent 10 years learning how alien computers worked. This virus would not just crash their systems, it would turn their own technology against them. Upload confirmed, she said as her fingers danced across multiple keyboards. The seeds are planted. When the time comes, every alien ship will become our weapon. Back on Earth, Seok-Jin Han was in his secret facility beneath the mountains of Korea. Around him, his team worked on weapons that could destroy matter at the atomic level. The quantum disruption cannons were humanity's deadliest secret. Test. Firing successful, reported one of his assistants. The target was completely annihilated. No trace remained. Sok-Jin nodded. The aliens' crystal ships and biovessels would have no defense against these weapons. Their shields and armor meant nothing when the weapons attacked the basic structure of matter itself. While the military prepared, other teams worked on different problems. Dr. Min-Ho Jeon was studying captured alien technology. For years, human spies had been stealing alien devices and bringing them home. Now he understood how they worked, and more importantly, how to stop them from working. Their energy weapons rely on a specific quantum frequency, he explained to his team. Change that frequency by just 2%, and their weapons become useless. Meanwhile, Admiral Su Jin Yang was positioning the hidden fleet. Humanity's real navy was not the ships the aliens had seen. Those were just for show. The real fleet had been built in secret, using technology that made alien ships look like toys from a museum. All units report ready, she said from the bridge of the Invisible Sword. Her ship could phase in and out of normal space, making it impossible to hit with conventional weapons. Around her, 200 similar ships waited for the order to attack. President Song received reports from every front. The preparations were going faster than anyone had hoped. Humanity had been ready for this war for years. They just had not wanted to start it. Time remaining? She asked. 26 days, said Admiral Yoon. But we won't need that long. We'll be ready in 15. Across the galaxy, alien fleets began moving toward human space. They expected an easy victory against a primitive species. Their scouts reported that human ships were slow and their weapons were weak. They had no idea that the humans were letting them see exactly what they wanted them to see. Commander Byung-Ho Cho received his orders on the planet Haven, humanity's most distant colony. His job was to make sure the aliens thought they were winning right up until the moment they lost everything. Let them come, he told his soldiers. We'll give them a fight they expect. Then we'll give them a war they never imagined. His men laughed. They had been waiting years for this chance. The aliens thought humans were weak because they had never seen humans fight for their survival. In space stations hidden throughout human territory, thousands of people worked around the clock. Engineers built weapons. Scientists created new technologies. Soldiers trained for battles unlike anything in history. The aliens thought they were giving humanity 30 days to surrender. They had no idea they were giving humanity 30 days to prepare for their complete destruction. On the 26th day, alien scouts reported that human forces seemed to be gathering for defense. Their ships were moving slowly, as if the humans were trying to protect their colonies. The alien commanders were pleased. Everything was going exactly as they had predicted. They could not see the invisible ships moving into position. They could not detect the quantum weapons being charged. They had no idea that their own communication networks were already compromised. The trap was set. The aliens were walking into it willingly, believing they were the hunters when they were actually the prey. Humanity was ready for war. The 30-day deadline ended at exactly midnight Earth time. The aliens had expected to receive humanity's surrender. Instead, they received something else entirely. At 12:01 a.m., Dr. Hye-Jin Moon pressed a single button in her laboratory on Titan. Across the galaxy, every alien communication network went silent at the same moment. The virus she had planted months ago activated simultaneously on thousands of worlds. Admiral Kethvar of the Vorthak Third Fleet was giving orders to his captains when his command screen went black. He tried to contact other ships in his fleet, but heard only static. In the space of 10 seconds, his mighty armada became a collection of isolated vessels unable to coordinate or call for help. What happened? he demanded, his crystal voice sharp with anger. His communications officer, a younger Vorthak, worked frantically at his controls. All channels are dead, Admiral. Local communications, quantum relays, everything. It's like the entire network. Just stopped. Similar scenes played out across 12 star systems. Threnti hive minds lost contact with their swarms. Luminary energy collectives found themselves cut off from their linked consciousness. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Galactic Council's forces could not speak to each other. That was when the real attack began. Captain Jun Ho-an brought his ship, the Silent Vengeance, out of dark matter stealth directly behind the Vorthak flagship. The massive crystal ship had been invisible on alien sensors just moments before. Now it appeared like a ghost materializing in space. "Target acquired," Junho said calmly. "Firing quantum disruption cannon." The weapon hit the alien ship with a beam that looked like twisted starlight. Where it touched the crystal hull, matter simply stopped existing. The beam carved through the ship like a knife through paper, cutting it in half. The two pieces drifted, apart, their lights flickering and dying. Admiral Kethvar had just enough time to realize what was happening before his ship exploded around him. Across the battlefield, 19 other stealth ships appeared and opened fire. The alien fleet, already confused by the loss of communications, found itself under attack by enemies they could not see until it was too late. The Threnti bioships tried to adapt, as they always did. Their living hulls began to change, trying to become resistant to the human weapons. But the quantum disruption beams attacked matter at a level deeper than biology. The bioships dissolved like salt in water, their organic components breaking apart into harmless molecules. Commander Yunsu Park flew her fighter, Wraithwing, through the middle of the alien formation. Her ship was so small and fast that alien weapons could not track it. She fired precise shots at the weak points Junho's team had identified, watching enemy ships tear themselves apart from internal explosions. "This is too easy," she said over her radio. "They fight like they're still in the old wars." She was right. The aliens had not fought a real war in centuries. They were used to overwhelming primitive species with superior numbers and technology. They had no experience fighting an enemy that was smarter, faster, and better armed than they were. On the planet Zerion Prime, Commander Byung-ho Cho led his ground forces against the alien garrison. His soldiers wore armor that made them nearly invisible and carried weapons that could punch through any known defense. But their greatest advantage was surprise. The alien defenders had expected to face desperate humans with primitive projectile weapons. Instead, they faced soldiers who could teleport short distances, phase through solid matter, and coordinate their attacks through quantum-linked communication systems that the aliens could not detect or jam. "Building secured," reported Sergeant Dae-ho Kim as his squad cleared another alien stronghold. 37 enemy casualties, 0 friendly losses. The pattern was the same everywhere. Alien forces that should have been unbeatable were destroyed, with embarrassing ease. Their weapons could not penetrate human armor. Their ships could not detect human attacks until it was too late. Their soldiers could not match human speed and coordination. But the humans were not just winning battles. They were sending a message. Every alien ship that survived the initial attacks received the same transmission. It showed recordings of their fallen comrades in their final moments. Proud Vorthak crystals shattering like glass. Mighty Threnti bioships dissolving into clouds of organic matter. Powerful luminary energy beings scattered across space like dying stars. The recordings were accompanied by a simple message in every alien language. This is what happens when you threaten humanity. Surrender now, or join them. Some alien commanders tried to fight back. Captain Zix Thara of the Threnti battle swarm attempted to use her hive's collective intelligence to predict human attack patterns. Her mind-linked warriors should have been able to coordinate perfectly against any enemy. Instead, they found themselves fighting soldiers who seemed to know what they were going to do before they did it. Human intelligence networks had been studying alien tactics for decades. Every strategy the aliens tried had already been anticipated and countered. Impossible, Zixathara hissed as her warriors fell around her. How can mammals think faster than the collective mind? She got her answer when a human soldier appeared behind her, having teleported through what should have been solid rock. The last thing she saw was a weapon that fired concentrated gravity, crushing her exoskeleton like an eggshell. In space above the planet Kethmore, Admiral Sujin Yang brought her fleet out of phase space directly inside the alien defensive perimeter. The move should have been impossible. No known technology could allow ships to materialize inside another ship's shields. Alien fleet, this is Admiral Yang of the Human Defense Force, she broadcast on all frequencies. You have exactly 60 seconds to surrender before we destroy you. The alien commander responded with anger and threats. He commanded 200 ships against her 50. His vessels were larger and more heavily armed. In any conventional battle, the humans would be outnumbered 4-1. This was not a conventional battle. Time's up, Admiral Yang said when the minute ended. All ships, weapons free. Her fleet fired in perfect coordination. Every shot was calculated to cause maximum psychological impact. Instead of destroying the alien ships quickly, the human weapons disabled them slowly and visibly. Engines failed. Weapons stopped working. Life support systems began to malfunction. The alien crews found themselves trapped in dead ships, floating helplessly in space while human vessels circled them, like predators. Some aliens tried to abandon ship, only to find that their escape pods would not function either. Please, the alien admiral finally transmitted. We surrender. What do you want? We want you to deliver a message, Admiral Yang replied. Go back to your council. Tell them what happened here. Tell them this is only the beginning. She kept her word. The disabled alien ships were allowed to retreat, carrying news of humanity's victory to the rest of the galaxy. It was a calculated move designed to spread fear and confusion among the enemy. Within hours, reports reached every alien world. The mighty Galactic Council fleets had been destroyed or scattered. Humanity had revealed weapons and technologies. That seemed almost magical. The species that was supposed to be easily conquered had instead inflicted the worst military defeat in galactic history. Emergency meetings convened on a dozen worlds. Alien leaders who had been celebrating humanity's impending surrender found themselves facing the collapse of everything they had built. The war was supposed to be over in days. Instead, it had barely begun, and the aliens were already losing. On Earth, President Song received reports from every front. The first phase had exceeded all expectations. Alien communications were down across half the galaxy. Their main battle fleets were destroyed or retreating. Key strategic positions were under human control. Casualties? She asked. 17 wounded, Admiral Yoon reported. No deaths. The numbers were almost unbelievable. Humanity had just won the largest space battle in galactic history without losing a single life. Phase 2 is ready to begin, the Admiral continued. The aliens still don't know what hit them. President Song nodded. The real war was just getting started. The emergency session of the Galactic Council took place in a bunker deep beneath Nexus Prime. The great chamber where they had delivered their ultimatum to humanity now lay in ruins, destroyed by a human strike team that had appeared and vanished like ghosts. Prime Crystal Vorthanus, leader of the Council, was no longer the confident being who had threatened Earth 30 days ago. His crystal body was cracked in several places, and the light within him flickered weakly. Around the table sat the surviving representatives of a dozen species, all of them bearing the marks of humanity's devastating counterattack. "How?" asked Hive Queen Zethrix of the Threnti, her insect voice shaking with disbelief. "How did they do this to us?" Before anyone could answer, the bunker's main door opened. Every alien in the room tensed, expecting another human attack. Instead, a single figure walked in calmly, as if he owned the place. It was In-Ho Bay, wearing the simple uniform of a human diplomatic envoy. He carried no weapons and showed no fear, despite being surrounded by creatures that could have killed him with a thought. Behind him walked two guards, but they seemed more like an honor escort than protection. Honored members of the former Galactic Council, In-Ho said, his voice polite but cold. "I bring greetings from the people of Earth." "Former Council?" Vorthanus's crystal voice cracked like breaking glass. "We are still the legitimate government of this galaxy." In-Ho smiled, and somehow that expression was more terrifying than any weapon. "Are you? Let me present some recent developments for your consideration." He activated a small device, and holographic displays filled the air around the table. The aliens watched in growing horror as the displays showed the current state of their territory. 60% of their combined fleet was destroyed or captured. Major communication networks remained down across half the galaxy. 12 key worlds were under human occupation, their populations unharmed, but their governments removed from power. "Impossible," whispered Secretary Nethval of the Luminary Collective. His energy form pulsed weakly. "Our intelligence report said humans were a primitive species. Your ships were slow. Your weapons were weak." "Your intelligence was wrong," In-Ho said simply. "It was designed to be wrong." The bunker fell silent except for the humming of alien life support systems. "You see," In-Ho continued, "humanity has known about the Galactic Council for over a century. We've been watching you, studying you, learning everything about your species and your technology. What you thought was first contact was actually the end of a very long intelligence operation." He gestured, and the display changed to show a timeline stretching back 120 years. In 2267, our deep space probes detected your communication networks. By 2275, we had learned your languages. By 2290, we had agents living among your populations. The aliens stared at the timeline in shock. According to their records, humanity had only achieved faster-than-light travel in 2340. "That's impossible," said General Crickstar of the militant caste. "We monitored your technological development. You could barely reach your own moon when we first detected you." In-Ho's smile grew wider. "You monitored what we wanted you to monitor. Every signal you intercepted, every probe you captured, every accidental encounter with our ships. All of it was carefully planned to make you believe we were less advanced than we actually were." Another gesture brought up new displays showing human technology that the aliens had never seen. Ships that could phase through solid matter, weapons that manipulated gravity itself, computers that could predict alien battle tactics with perfect accuracy. "While you were congratulating yourselves on your superiority," In-Ho said, "we were surpassing you in every field of science and technology. The difference is that we were smart enough to hide our advances until we needed them. Hive Queen. Zethrix leaned forward, her multifaceted eyes reflecting the holographic light. Why? Why this deception? If you were so advanced, why not reveal yourselves as equals? Because we studied your history, Inho replied. We learned what you did to species that challenged your authority. The Kepler colonists were not the only ones you destroyed. We found records of 17 civilizations that were corrected into extinction. The chamber erupted in alien voices as the representatives tried to deny or justify their past actions. Inho waited patiently for them to quiet down. We also studied your psychology, he continued when silence returned. We learned that your species only understand strength. Diplomacy in your minds is what the weak use to delay their inevitable defeat. So we gave you what you expected, apparently weak humans who would either submit or be crushed. Prime Crystal Vorthanis struggled to process what he was hearing. The colonies you surrendered to us, he said slowly. The technology we captured, the military intelligence we gathered, all fake, Inho confirmed. Every piece of information you obtained about humanity was carefully crafted to reinforce your assumptions about our capabilities. You believed you were studying us, but we were controlling what you learned. Admiral Sujin Yang entered the bunker at that moment, her uniform bearing the insignia of the Human Defense Force. Behind her walked Minho Jian, Director of Alien Relations, and Dr. Heiwan Shin, Chief Xenobiologist. Admiral Yang commanded. The fleet that destroyed your third armada, Inho said by way of introduction. Director Jian has been living on Vorthak Prime for the past 15 years under the identity of trade specialist Korth Val. Dr. Shin wrote her doctoral thesis on Threnti biology, information she gathered while working in your own research facilities. The aliens stared at the humans in shock. They had been infiltrated so thoroughly that they had never even suspected. Korthval? Vorthanis whispered. But he was one of our most trusted advisors. He helped design our defense networks. Minho smiled. Thank you. Those networks were quite easy to disable once we activated the back doors I built into them. Dr. Shin stepped forward, her expression professional but cold. I should also mention that we have detailed biological profiles of every species in this room. We know exactly how your immune systems work, what toxins affect you, and how to synthesize them. If we had wanted to eliminate you through biological warfare, you would all be dead already. The threat hung in the air like poison. The aliens realized that humanity could have destroyed them at any time over the past several decades, but had chosen not to. What do you want? Secretary Nethval asked, his energy form dimming with defeat. Peace, Inho said simply. A real peace, not the false order you impose through fear and violence. And if we refuse? General Krikstar demanded. Admiral Yang answered that question. Then we will demonstrate some of our newer weapons. You've seen our quantum disruption cannons and phase shift technology. Would you like to see what happens when we destabilize a star? Or perhaps you'd prefer a demonstration of our dimensional warfare capabilities? The aliens fell silent. They were beginning to understand that humanity possessed technologies that made their own weapons look like primitive tools. However, Inho continued, we prefer not to rule through fear. We've seen what that leads to. Instead, we're offering you something your council never offered to others, the chance to change. Change how? Vorthanis asked. Join us in building something better, Inho said. A galactic civilization based on cooperation instead of domination, where differences are celebrated instead of being used as excuses for conquest. where strength is used to protect the weak instead of exploiting them. And if we agree to this, Hive Queen Zethrix asked, then you'll be treated as equals in the new order we're building, Inho replied. Your species will be respected. Your cultures will be preserved. Your people will be free to live and grow without fear. But if we refuse, Inho's expression hardened. Then you'll be removed from power and replaced by leaders who understand the value of peace. We won't destroy your species, but we won't allow you to continue threatening others either. The aliens looked at each other, realizing they had no real choice. Humanity had demonstrated that they could not be defeated through force. Their only option was to accept the new reality or be swept aside by it. You've already won, Vorthanus said finally. Why offer us anything at all? Because, Inho said, we believe that even former enemies can become friends, given the chance. Your species have knowledge and capabilities that could benefit everyone if used constructively instead of destructively. This is not how conquerors usually behave, observed Dr. Yethmar of the Science Cast. Inho nodded. Because we're not conquerors, we're liberators. There's a difference. The meeting continued for several more hours as the humans outlined their plans for galactic reorganization. The aliens slowly began to understand that humanity was offering them something unprecedented, the chance to be part of something greater than what they had built through force and fear. The old order was dead. The new one was just beginning. 6 months after the fall of the Galactic Council, Sang-Woo Kim stood before the largest gathering in galactic history. Representatives from over 200 species filled the Great Assembly Hall on New Geneva Station, humanity's newest and most ambitious construction project. The station itself was a marvel that demonstrated humanity's commitment to their new vision. Instead of being built in one species' preferred environment, it contained dozens of different atmospheric zones. Vorthak could live in their crystal chambers. Threnti could maintain their hive structures. Luminary could exist in pure energy fields. Every species had a home within the same structure. 6 months ago, Sang-Woo began, his voice carried by translation systems that could convert meaning into any known form of communication. This galaxy was ruled by fear. Today, we gather to celebrate the first graduation of the Interspecies Cooperative Academy. In the audience, former enemies sat side by side. Young Vorthak crystals sparkled next to human children. Threnti larvae played games with luminary energy, sprites. It was a sight that would have been impossible under the old order. Yu Jin Lee, now commanding the Galactic Peacekeeping Force, watched the ceremony from the security station. Her forces included volunteers from every species, all working together to maintain the peace that humanity had fought to create. The blue and white uniforms of the peacekeepers had become a symbol of hope across the galaxy. Status report, she said into her communicator. All sectors peaceful, came the reply from Captain Kim Hyung-tae, a former enemy pilot who now served as her second in command. The Outer Rim colonies report successful harvests. Trade routes are running ahead of schedule. The new communication networks are operating at 100% efficiency. Eugene smiled. The transformation had been faster than anyone had expected. When species were treated as equals instead of subjects, they seemed eager to contribute to something greater than themselves. At the podium, Sang-Woo continued his speech. The students graduating today come from 47 different species. They have learned not just science and technology, but also cooperation, understanding, and respect for differences. They represent the future we are building together. In the front row, Jun Young Park, now Minister of Interspecies Affairs, watched with pride as his own daughter walked across the stage with her best friend, a young Threnti who had designed new medical technologies that worked for both species. The sight would have been unthinkable under the old council's rule. The transformation had not been easy. Some species had resisted the changes, preferring the old ways of dominance and submission. Na-Eun Cho, head of the Rehabilitation Commission, had worked tirelessly with these groups, showing them that cooperation produced better results than conquest. Change is difficult, she had told a gathering of former council supporters. But the alternative is being left behind while the rest of the galaxy moves forward. Most had chosen to adapt. Those who refused found themselves isolated but unharmed, free to maintain their old ways on their own worlds as long as they did not threaten others. The graduation ceremony ended with a performance by the Interspecies Symphony, an orchestra that combined instruments and sounds from dozens of different cultures. The music they created was unlike anything that had existed before. Complex harmonies that no single species could have imagined alone. Later that evening, Sang-woo met with his advisors in his office overlooking the station's central garden. Through the transparent walls, they could see beings from across the galaxy walking together, sharing meals and discussing ideas. The trade agreements with the Rim worlds are complete, reported Economic Coordinator Lee Soo-jin. They're offering mineral resources in exchange for our terraforming technology. 17 dead worlds will be brought back to life. Medical cooperation is exceeding expectations, added Dr. Park Jin-woo, Director of Interspecies Health. Combining Threnti biological knowledge with Vorthak crystal technology and human synthesis techniques, we've eliminated 12 major diseases that have plagued the galaxy for centuries. What about security concerns? Sang-woo asked. General Cho Min-seok, formerly the leader of the resistance against human expansion, now served as advisor on former council territories. The last holdout group surrendered yesterday, he reported. They asked to join the cooperative assembly. Apparently, they were tired of being the only ones still fighting a war that ended months ago. Sang-woo nodded with satisfaction. The galaxy was healing faster than anyone had dared to hope. A chime sounded, indicating an urgent message. Communications specialist Han So-young activated the display, showing a transmission from the Deep Space Exploration Division. "Sir," came the voice of Captain Lee Dong-wook from the exploration ship Pathfinder. "We've made contact with a new species in the Andromeda contact zone. They call themselves the Kethmori. They're different from anything we've encountered before." The display showed images of beings that looked like living metal, with bodies that seemed to shift and flow like liquid mercury. They moved in perfect synchronization, as if they shared a single mind. "Are they hostile?" Eugene asked. "Unknown," Captain Lee replied. "They're powerful. Their technology is even more advanced than ours. But they seem curious rather than aggressive. They want to meet with representatives of our—" They called it the Peace Builders. Sang-woo felt a familiar mixture of excitement and caution. Humanity had spent centuries preparing for contact with the known galaxy. Now they faced contact with something completely new. "Prepare a diplomatic mission," he decided. "Full peaceful protocols. If they're truly more advanced than us, we need to approach this carefully." "Should we alert the assembly?" Jun Young asked. "Not yet," Sang-woo said. "Let's learn more first. But prepare contingency plans. If this goes badly, we need to protect what we've built." Over the following weeks, The diplomatic mission to the Kethmori proved to be another success for humanity's approach. The metal beings were indeed more technologically advanced, but they were also deeply impressed by what humanity had accomplished in transforming a war-torn galaxy into a cooperative civilization. "Your species is young," the Kethmori Prime Speaker had said during the first formal meeting. "But you have wisdom that some civilizations never achieve. We have watched many species rise and fall. Most choose dominance over cooperation. You chose differently." The Kethmori offered to share some of their advanced technologies in exchange for being allowed to study human diplomatic and social techniques. They wanted to learn how to build the kind of cooperative society that humanity had created years past. The Interspecies Cooperative Assembly grew to include over 300 species. Trade flourished, scientific discoveries accelerated as different species shared their knowledge. Art and culture bloomed as beings learned from each other's perspectives. The Old Galactic Council was remembered in museums and history lessons as a warning about the dangers of ruling through fear. Children from dozens of species learned about the brief war that had changed everything, but to them it seemed as distant and strange as ancient history. On the 10th anniversary of the war's end, an old man sat in a garden on Earth, watching his grandchildren play with their friends from across the galaxy. Hyunwoo Kim, now retired from diplomatic service, smiled as he watched a human child, a young Vorthak, and a Threnti larvae work together to build something in the sandbox. "What are you making?" he asked them. "A space station," said his granddaughter, "where everyone can live together." "Even the scary aliens?" asked the Vorthak child. "There are no scary aliens," the Threnti larvae replied matter-of-factly. "Just friends we haven't met yet." Hyunwoo nodded, remembering a time when such innocence would have been impossible. The galaxy his grandchildren were inheriting was vastly different from the one he had grown up in. It was better in every way that mattered. In space above them, the memorial ships of the old Council fleets had been converted into museums and research stations. The weapons that had once threatened to destroy humanity now served as reminders of what could be achieved when strength was used to protect rather than conquer. The inscription on the central memorial, written in every known language, was simple but profound. They sought to rule through fear. We chose to lead through hope. The difference changed everything. As the sun set over Earth, Hyunwoo reflected on how far they had all come. The galaxy that had once been divided by suspicion and hatred was now united by trust and cooperation. It had taken a war to make peace possible, but the peace had proven to be worth fighting for. Somewhere in the Andromeda contact zone, new species were making first contact with the Cooperative Assembly. Each meeting brought new possibilities, new knowledge and new friends to the ever-growing galactic community. The future stretched out before them, bright with promise and full of wonders yet to be discovered. And at the heart of it all was a simple truth that humanity had proven through both war and peace, that strength used wisely could build something far greater than any empire built on fear. The galaxy had learned to hope again, and hope, it turned out, was the most powerful force in the universe.